Welcome to On Fire to Inspire. I am your host, Aaliyah the Purpose Midwife. I want to thank y'all so much for joining me this beautiful evening. I want to tell you this because some people are like, Aaliyah, why in the world do you have midwife? Do you birth? Nope. The Lord gave me that name, and that name, He said, when He gave me the name, He said, you don't birth babies, you birth purpose. So, with that said, I want to hop on in and thank our sponsors. As I thank our sponsors, I want y'all to hit that share button because guess what, y'all? We talked about part one last week. We talked about why it was important to take that cape off, right? And that we needed to take the cape off. Well, guess what? So many of us ain't done our homework. And so many of us have put those doggone cakes right back on. So before we hop into everything, I want to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much to Mom Biz Boss, Mom Multiple Operational Managers. Attention all entrepreneur moms or aspiring entrepreneur moms. If you are one of those, you meet one of those two categories, you want to connect with Mom Biz Boss. These are some awesome groups because they actually have different chapters now. Well, they have meetups locally. They also have virtuals. And it's just so many opportunities to connect with like-minded people and maybe build some collaborations and things of that nature. But you definitely want to check them out at mombizboss.org. Mombizboss.org. I put that in the link there. It should be on all of the links. So mombizboss.org, multiple operational managers. Next, we have Move with Mina. So, if any of you are on your wellness journey or you fell off the wagon and you're getting back on that wellness journey again, it's okay as long as you get up. It doesn't matter how many times you fall off. The fact of the matter is just get up and start again. And so, we do Monday moves at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Thursdays. Mondays and Thursdays are in person or virtual. So, if you say, well, I'm in California, we got you. All you have to do is go over to her page, which I included in the link. You go over to her page at Come Dance with Mina on Facebook, and you like and follow her page, and then inbox her and say, "Hey, I want to get the link so that I can dance with you guys." She also does Wednesdays at the local library, but that's in person only. So Mondays and Thursdays, you can do virtual or in person. Go to her page, like and follow her page. And then if you want to join one of the classes, it's only $5, y'all, and you can join virtually or in person. And then last but not least, let me make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Nope. Last but not least, if you don't have a copy of any of my books, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you can go get them on Amazon. You can get them on my Linktree link or on firetoinspire.com. And I've also put those out there. So thank you for all of our sponsors. Thank y'all so much for your support. Appreciate it. So y'all, the homework assignment was last week. Go over to our YouTube page, which is Aaliyah the Purpose Midwife. You were supposed to go to YouTube, and after the show ended, you were supposed to, if you hadn't already subscribe, and then hit like and tell what you were going to intentionally do for yourself, your act of self-care and self-love for yourself last week, what you were going to do for yourself. So my commitment to myself was I was going to do Zumba at least twice last week and work out at home at least 3 times last week. And guess what? I give myself a pat on the back because I committed to me and I did it. And guess what? I went on the page and did it. So some of you did not do it, but that was a way of holding you accountable to yourself. Not holding you accountable to me, but sometimes you can hold yourself accountable when you've already told somebody else that you're going to do it and that you want to do it, right? So you want to go over to our YouTube page. And after this ends, I want you to do the same thing. What do you plan on doing for yourself this week? Okay. So that's our goal is to be intentional about serving ourselves, to refilling and refueling ourselves. We talked about last week the refilling and refueling needed and how we could have burnout and all this other excess stuff without taking that cape off. So We talked about intentional self-care last week. We talked about rest and how important rest was and avoiding burnout. So this week, we're going to refocus on why we picked that doggone cake back up and practical ways to keep it off, especially when you realize, wait a minute, I've taken on too much and I can't breathe. And so, with that, we're going to recognize when we've put that cape on or when we're wearing too many hats and we need to take some of that off, right? So, again, hit that share button for me as we get ready to hop on into this segment of part two. So, section one right now, in part two, we're going to talk about why we keep putting this cape on, okay? So, some of us feel more important when we put these capes back on. You know, the busyness of life, you know, everybody tells you that if you're busy and you're doing this, you're doing that, you're running yourself ragged. But it looks good, it sounds good. But some of the reasons we also do, we put these capes back on is that we feel pressured to do so. It's a habit. It's a habit. I know I am a multitasker from the heart, but I had to slow down for me. Okay. Some of them feel like they're caught up. That's their identity to be so busy. Some, again, feel pressured to do some. And some people are tripped to feel like they have to do that. And so those are some of the reasons we keep putting that cape back on or keep taking on and putting on all these additional hats and things that we don't have to necessarily wear. So let's talk about, I want you to think about a time where everybody was pulling on you and everybody was needing you, and you just felt like you had to be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself. And so I know we've all had that point. And if you are an entrepreneur or if you have more time on your hands, guess what? People tend to pull on you because they feel like, oh, she has more time. But a lot of times you don't necessarily have more time because you already have other things you factor into that time. So that's going to shift into our next section of warning signs of burnout. Because guess what? If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to burn out. You are a human being that is sometimes burning too much on both ends of the candle. And with that, it will affect you emotionally, it will affect you physically, and it can affect you spiritually. So, warning signs in these different sections, different areas of that shows you that you're burnt out. All right. So, emotionally, you're generally a little irritable. Well, I'm not going to say a little irritable. Sometimes a lot irritable. Somebody can say something just a little something to you and you're like, oh, whatever, you're just really snappy at people. You're very irritable because emotionally you are just done. You're over it. You are like exhausted, and it's coming out in the fact that you're not rested. You're doing too much. You're wearing too many hats. You have that cape on or several capes on. And then the lack of joy. You are just doing so much for everyone and everybody that you lack the joy in what you do anymore. You used to enjoy it, but it's no longer a joyful thing for you because it's too much. So that's when emotionally it's showing up and you need to take the cape off. Okay. Let's talk about the physical parts of it. So when it shows up physically, you have fatigue, you're having poor sleep because your mind didn't even rest. And so you're like doing like this in your mind and you can't even have a restful sleep. You go to sleep, but you wake up tired. Why? Because you never really took that cape off. Tension, you just have tension, you're stressed, you may have anxiety. And for some people, they may even have panic attacks if they allow it to get that far. But that's where we're trying to teach you how to go ahead and take this cape off and to avoid some of this stuff, right? And then finally, in your spiritual side of you, sometimes you're feeling empty. Sometimes you're feeling disconnected. Why? Because you are so restless, because you're so tired that you're feeling these things. And those are some of the symptoms that you are just that burnt out. It affects you emotionally, it affects you spiritually, and it affects you um, physically and emotionally, physically, and spiritually. All right, so we're going into our section 3 already, and we're talking about rest, restoration, and boundaries. Now, the difference between rest and restoration is rest is you stop, y'all. You take the hats off, you take the cape off, and you rest unapologetically. You don't owe anybody an apology. You don't owe anybody an excuse. You have to rest. So rest is just stopping. That's what rest is. And then restoration, you're actually intentionally refueling. What does that look like? What does that look like for you? Is refueling going to get a nap or go taking your vitamins, eating healthy and not just going by the next drive-through? What does restoration look like for you? It's different for everybody, right? So let's talk about some examples of restoration practices. So restoration practices can be as simple as choosing to eat a little healthier. Because guess what? If you choose to eat healthier, you feel a whole lot better. Hydrating, drinking your water and not just grabbing a soda, grabbing juice. You got to drink water, y'all. Every organ that we have needs water. And as we're getting older, our body needs all of this. And then eating healthier too. We got to make sure that we're getting our vegetables in, we're getting the different nutrients that we're needing because we're not actually getting them like we did when we were in our 20s, right? Some of us have hit 50. So you've got to make sure that you're eating clean, cleaning with your children. Haven't eaten since yesterday. Oh no, Jim, you're going to have to eat. Wow. Okay, so the next one is regular movement. So what does regular movement? Some of us are just so doggone busy that we're like, you work from home, you're sitting at the table, you're just still all day long, and you're not moving. Y'all, they're saying that sitting is like the modern day smoker. Your body is like, think about it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So we got to use our muscles, y'all. We got to intentionally, like if your watch beeps and says, okay, it's time to get up and move, you need to get up and move, even if you just go to your kitchen and back or get up and take a few steps and sit back down. You've got to stay limber. You'll start feeling it in your back. You'll start feeling it in your hips. You'll start feeling it in your legs. Some people are getting restless legs and other stuff because they're not moving. They're stuck behind a desk or at their whatever their home office looks like, and they're stuck for 10 and 12 hours at a time. That's not good. So you got to make sure that you're doing that. And then setting up boundaries, y'all. Boundaries like taking that deep breath, y'all. I mean, well, saying no, number one, but taking a deep breath when you need to and just say, okay, let me just step away for a second. But setting boundaries and saying no. It's okay to say no. When you learn the ministry of no, honey, let me tell you, and scheduling some sacred time to just spend time with God, spend time just being still, spend time just, again, breathing, meditating, and then letting go of guilt because people will guilt you into feeling like you have to do everything and be there for everybody. You can say, no, I can't do it because you know you're overwhelmed. You know you're where you are. So, saying no, scheduling sacred time, and letting go of guilt. Got to do it. Now, I want you to remember we talked about box breathing last week. That's one of the easiest ones you can remember. When you're getting ready to breathe in, you breathe in on a count of 4 seconds, and then you hold it for 4 seconds, and you breathe out on a count of 4 seconds, and you're just still for 4 seconds. You want to make sure that you're breathing. And so one of the things I was going to do tonight is a breathing exercise, but I don't know who's driving. I don't know if you guys are able to do so, but we want to make sure that we're taking the time to breathe. Just be still and breathe. Finally, finding a community or accountability partners. So if you have support groups, support systems, like you have a friend that can hold you accountable to making sure that you're checking in with yourself. If you have a family member that can do that, you have mentors. Who can you go to? Who is your go-to person that can help you bring it all back and say, hey, I'm doing too much, right? I have accountability partners, especially when I'm doing like the conferences and things of that nature. I have several of them that'll say, Aaliyah, have you eaten? Aaliyah, have you had anything to drink? Because I'm on go. And sometimes I'm on go so much, I don't realize that I hadn't. And so you have to have those partners, the accountability partners that says, hey, let me check on you. Let me make sure that you're good. And sometimes they know you better than you know yourself. So they have to check on you because they know that's you and you won't do it. The accountability partners, again, can help remind us that we need to rest. And then another thing that you can do is journal. Journaling can help you de stress, journaling can help you just bring it back. Um, so, journaling will be so one of your journaling prompts that you could do is, what do I need to ask for help this week? Do you need to ask for help in what capacity? Where do I need to ask for help? Um, and you can actually write down some restorative practices that you want to try this week, some things you want to do for you, like breathing, again, journaling, walking, prioritizing sleep, and eating healthier. Now, prioritizing sleep, let's talk about that. If you're not getting any sleep, that by in and of itself, oh, that can have you fatigued. That can lead to things with your health because you got to get your sleep. You got to be rested, right? Now, so in closing, I have a couple of affirmations for you. Okay, your first affirmation is rest is productive. Okay, rest is productive. Your second affirmation is I am enough even when I pause. Even when I take a break, I am enough. Even though I feel overwhelmed and I need to just take this cape off or take these many hats off, I'm still enough because it's okay. It's okay to say no to some of these assignments. It's okay to say no to some of these things that I'm asked to do. It's okay to say no. You know your level of what you can handle and what's to the point of it's too much. And then finally, I don't have to prove my worth. It's inherent. You already are enough. You're already more than enough. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to give an excuse. You can just say, no, I can't handle that. I can't add that to my I can't add that to my plate at this time. Now, you can choose some self-care non-negotiables like, you know what, I'm going to do 5 minutes of this, and during that 5 minutes nobody can bother me. And then this is another good one, y'all. Do a cape check weekly. So weekly, just kind of say, do I have that cape on and am I doing too much, or do am I wearing four hats when I only have the capacity for two right now? Do a self check to check in with yourself. How am I feeling? Am I feeling, can I handle this? So ask yourself that. And then finally, tell someone you trust your self care commitment. So you can tell someone, but again, your homework assignment, again, we're going to see how many of y'all follow directions this week. At the end of the segment, I want you to go over to our YouTube page on Aaliyah the Purpose Midwife and tell us what you plan to do for yourself this week. What is it that you plan to do for yourself? All right, let's see here. Jim, what state are you located in? What state are you located in? Maybe we can connect you to some resources. All right. And then finally, again, your homework assignment is to find an accountability partner or go onto our YouTube page and type in what you plan to do for yourself this week, because it's time for you to take that intentional time out for yourself. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is essential. Self-care is mandatory, and self-care should be a non-negotiable for you. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in to part two. I just want to remind you, that it's time to take that cape off, and make sure you keep it off. And when it's time to put it on, you'll know. But when you're doing too much, you'll know that as well. So you'll know to take that cape off or take some of those hats off. All right. I'm a Live the Purpose Midwife. I'll see y'all same time, same place next week, right here on Friday Inspire. Blessings to you, and we'll see you then.